My Weird School Days, Book Number 10. Miss Mary is Scary. Written by Dan Gutman. Pictures by Jim Pelot. Chapter 1. A Ghost in the Bathroom. My name is AJ and I hate school. It was a couple of weeks before Halloween, which is the coolest holiday of the year. We get to wear our costumes to school on Halloween and have a big candy party. At the end of the day, we parade around the block with all the parents watching. Marching in a parade is way better than watching a parade because you don't have to stand in one place for 1,100,000 hours. Hang up your coats in the cloakroom, said my teacher, Mr. Granite, who is from another planet. What a weird name for the room. Cloakroom. Who wears a cloak? I don't even know what a cloak is. After we finished circle time and word of the day, Mr. Granite told us to take out our math books and turn to page 23. Can I go to the bathroom? I asked. Do you really need to, AJ? Asked Mr. Granite. Yes. I didn't really need to go to the bathroom. Sometimes I go to the bathroom even though I don't have to. Like when Mr. Granite is teaching math. I hate math. Math is the perfect time to go to the bathroom. Arlo doesn't need to go to the bathroom, said Andrea Young, this annoying girl with curly brown hair. She calls me by my real name because she knows I don't like it. I do too, do not. We went back and forth like that for a while, but the teachers have to let you go to the bathroom. It's a law. If they don't let you go to the bathroom, they have to go to jail. Go ahead, AJ, Mr. Granite grumbled. The boys' bathroom is haunted, you know, whispered my friend Ryan. I heard there's a ghost in there. Yeah, watch out for that ghost, said my friend Michael. He eats kids for lunch. That's ridiculous. There's no such thing as a ghost. And even if there were ghosts, they wouldn't go to the bathroom. They don't have to. Even if ghosts did have to go to the bathroom, they wouldn't haunt one. Ghosts haunt graveyards, basements, and old houses of people who died, not bathrooms. Everybody knows that. I'm not afraid of ghosts. Still, I was going to be careful, just to be on the safe side. I walked down the hall and pushed open the door to the bathroom. Anybody in here? I asked. Nobody answered. I sat down in one of the stalls. There was nothing to do, but it was better than learning math. That's when something really weird happened. The toilet in the stall next to me flushed. Who's in there? I asked, alarmed. Nobody answered. I peeked under the stall to see who was in there. Nobody. Are you a ghost? I asked. The ghost didn't answer. Maybe it was invisible. I picked up the extra roll of toilet paper in case I had to hit the invisible ghost over the head with it. That's when something even weirder happened. The toilet on the other side of me flushed. "Who is that?" I demanded. Nobody answered. I peeked under the stall. Nobody was there. This was really weird. Maybe there were 2 invisible ghosts, and they had me surrounded. I was scared. I wanted to run away to Antarctica and go live with the penguins. But that's when the weirdest thing in the history of the world happened. The toilet I was sitting on suddenly flushed. Ah! I got up and ran out of the stall. Then I ran past the sinks and they turned on. Then I ran past the hand dryer and it turned on. "Help!" I screamed as I ran out the door. "There are ghosts in there!" I ran back to class and shouted, "There are ghosts in the bathroom! Help!" "Calm down, AJ," Mr. Granite told me. "What happened?" "I was in the stall," I explained, "and the toilet on my left flushed all by itself. And then the toilet on my right flushed all by itself. And then the toilet I was sitting on flushed all by itself. And the sinks and hand dryer turned on too. But nobody was there. It must be ghosts. The bathroom is haunted. Run for your lives." Everybody started freaking out, yelling, screaming, and crying. That's when our custodian, Miss Lazar, came in. "There are no ghosts in the bathroom," Miss Lazar said. "I recently installed automatic sinks, hand dryers, and toilets to save water and electricity. I was just testing them out to see if they work." "Oh, well, maybe there aren't any ghosts in the bathroom after all, but I'm not going in there again for the rest of my life." Chapter 2. The New Student Teacher. Mr. Granite told us that it was his idea to install the new water-saving toilets. "Every time you flush a toilet," he said, "you use up to 5 gallons of water. So 5 flushes in a day would be 5 times 5, 25 gallons of water a day." Mr. Granite loves math, and that adds up to 175 gallons a week, Mr. Granite continued, and 9,100 gallons a year. And do you know how many gallons of water you will flush down the toilet in your lifetime? He didn't have the chance to answer the question because at that moment, the weirdest thing in the history of the world happened. The door opened. Well, that's not the weird part because doors open all the time. But you'll never believe who walked into the door. Nobody, because if you walked into a door, it would hurt. But you'll never believe who walked into the doorway. It was our principal, Mr. Klutz. He has no hair at all. I think Mr. Klutz used to have hair, but it fell out a long time ago. That's what happens when men get old. He held up his hand and made a peace sign, which means shut up. I have big news, he told us. Mr. Klutz has a big nose, I whispered to Ryan, who sits next to me. What is it? Asked Andrea's crybaby friend Emily. You're going to get a student teacher, Mr. Klutz announced. Isn't that exciting? Yes, said all the girls. No, said all the boys. Wait a minute. Student teacher? That doesn't make any sense. How can a student be a teacher? I asked. Or the teacher be a student? A person can be either a student or a teacher, but not both. A student teacher is somebody who's learning how to be a teacher, dumbhead, said Andrea. Oh, snap, said Ryan. So is your face, I told Andrea. Anytime somebody says something mean to you and you can't think of what to say, just say, so is your face. That's the first rule of being a kid. What is our student teacher's name? Andrea asked. When will we meet her? Right now, Mr. Klutz said. Come on in here, Mary. Don't be shy. Kids, this is your new student teacher, Miss Mary. A lady came in. She looked weird. She had black hair, black clothes, black eye makeup, and a tattoo of a black bat on her arm. There was a purple streak in her hair. She had holes in her pants and earbuds in her ears. She was chewing gum and bobbing her head up and down to the music. Mr. Granite didn't look very happy when he saw Miss Mary. Yo, she said as she took out one of her earbuds. What up? Yo, we all replied. Miss Mary is going to be a great teacher, Mr. Klutz told us. Do you know how I know she'll be so good? How? We all asked. Because, Mr. Klutz said as he put his arm around her. Mary is my daughter. What? Chapter 3. Miss Mary is weird. Mr. Klutz has a daughter? I knew he was married to a lady named Mrs. Klutz, but I didn't know they had kids. Mr. Klutz told us that a long time ago, before he married to Mrs. Klutz, he was married to some other lady in England and they had a baby. So Miss Mary grew up in England and came to America for a year to do her student teaching. Isn't she lovely? He said. Yes, we all lied. Nobody wanted to tell Mr. Klutz that his daughter looked weird. Well, I have to go to a meeting, Mr. Klutz said. Mary, I'm so glad you decided to become a teacher and help educate the youth of America so they can pursue their hopes and dreams. Yeah, whatever, said Miss Mary. I'll stop back in a little while to see how you're making out, Mr. Klutz said before he left. Ugh, disgusting, Mr. Klutz said, making out. Mr. Granite had a frowny face. He looked like he didn't want to have a student teacher. So, Miss Mary, he said, what made you decide to become a teacher? Well, it's like the kids, you know, she said. They're so, I don't know, kid-like. You know? Yeah, and when you're the teacher, you get the summer off, right? That's cool. People from England talk funny. Miss Mary sounded like she should be in a Harry Potter movie. Yes, I do get the summer off, Mr. Granite said. But most people become teachers for other reasons, like he didn't get the chance to finish his sentence because suddenly loud music started playing. Everybody looked around to see where it was coming from. Hang on, Miss Mary said. It's my bloody cell phone. Your cell phone is covered with blood? I asked. I gotta take this, Mary said. It's my boyfriend, Zach. Mr. Granite looked mad. Cell phones aren't allowed in school, but I guess he couldn't do anything about it because Miss Mary is Mr. Klutz's daughter. Yo, what up, dude? Miss Mary said into the phone. I'm at Daddy's school. I miss you too, Zach. Okay, gotta go. Later. Are you quite finished? Asked Mr. Granite. I'd like to do our math lesson. Yeah, Miss Mary said. Zach is back home in England. He says he's coming over here even though his parents don't like me. Gee, I wonder why, Mr. Granite said. Okay, open your math books to page 23, shall we? We all opened our math books. Zach is in an awesome band called Fish Food, Miss Mary said. They totally rock. Music is my favorite thing, said Andrea. I love the Jonas Brothers. Me too, said Emily, who loves everything that Andrea loves. Zach is into heavy metal, said Miss Mary. He wears a suit of armor? I asked. Heavy metal is a kind of music, dumbhead, said Andrea, rolling her eyes. I knew that, I lied. Zach is a genius, Miss Mary said. He'll be famous someday. We want to get married, but Daddy won't let us. He says Zach can't earn a living by playing music. Mr. Granite's face was all red. He doesn't like it when we get off task, but it didn't matter because that's when something really weird happened. A guy climbed in the window. Everybody was freaking out. The guy was dressed all in black, just like Mary. Zach, yelled Miss Mary. Mary, yelled Zach. I thought you called from England, Miss Mary said. No, I was right around the corner, said Zach. I love you too. They said the L word. Miss Mary and Zach started smooching. I thought I was gonna throw up. Isn't it romantic? Said Andrea. Zach and Miss Mary are in love, but their parents won't let them be together. It's just like Romeo and Juliet. This is strictly against school rules, Mr. Granite said. Please don't tell Daddy that Zach is here, Miss Mary begged Mr. Granite. Please. Suddenly, there was the sound of footsteps outside the door. It's Mr. Klutz, Ryan shouted. Hide, Zach, said Miss Mary. Where? asked Zach. In the cloakroom, Mr. Granite told him. Zack ran into the cloakroom and shut the door. Mr. Klutz came into the room. "So," he said, "how are you making out, Mary?" Disgusting," I said. "I'm making out just fine, Daddy," Miss Mary said. "Good," said Mr. Klutz. "I'll check up on you again later." Whew! That was a close one.